Morning, gorgeous. It's noisy out here, but I just wanted to show you the flowers because they won't be here forever. And the spring winds can last forever. So let me just show you and then we'll go inside where it's quiet. So I've got to keep enjoying these sedum. They're fantastic. Yeah, I mean, you can hear the wind, you can see it. But look at this. It's just full on. And this is why I didn't want you to miss out because it's amazing. Look at these orange ones. They start dark and they fade. And they're beautiful. And there's just so much colour. And yeah, most of them are the red stripy ones, but you just get these little contrasts coming up. And you can see I'm just waiting for this to flower. G'day, Amy. It's lovely to see you. Good morning, Linda. So, you know, things are growing and we have lilies coming up. I've finally made the holes in there big enough for the lilies to survive. See, there's more of them there. They have to fight a bit, but they do make it through. And then they make flowers. And look, there's two different sorts. See the bigger leaves and the smaller ones, different colours. And these fabulous sedum plants, which, you know, they're a kind of succulent. So you can see over there the tulips are kind of finished, but they're there. And I just wanted you to see this because it's pretty glorious. And there was something rather beautiful here, which I think is gone. Yeah, this particular flower, I saw it on the weekend. You can see the petals just had the stripe, racing stripe down the middle. Ah, Julian's on the bridge too. Good morning, beautiful. So we're just out here in the wind because I don't want you to miss out on the flowers. And see the magnolia tree is looking pretty glorious as well. And you have the cineraria underneath it. And the colours contrast beautifully. And you can see I've done some work down here. That's a long story. But that's the other thing that's happening is the cherry tree. And it's much pruned and thinned form is coming into bloom. So we get to enjoy the cherries as well. It'll be better another day. But there you go. You can see it's pretty hard when it's backlit. But you can see there's flowers coming. So that's lovely. And the other thing that, you know, we've got to enjoy is these bluebells because they're fantastic. I so enjoy these flowers. And, well, yeah, what do I need to say? Just love. So I wanted you to see this before we go inside out of the wind because it is pretty breezy today. So that's the floral celebration, which is late spring in my garden. Now I'm going to go inside. So up we go the steps. There's not much of a view today. It's just cloudy and windy. And the best view is from the top of the hills. I hope you saw the photograph because it's beautiful. There, the door's shut. Shut the door. Yeah, the cherry tree's gorgeous. Even though it's been very much pruned and it really needed to be pruned because it was just taking over the world. It's pretty dim in here and I'll turn on the other lights. Otherwise, it looked like I'm in some sort of cave. Right. Okay, I did push the button. That's good. Now I know how much time I've got. Right. So, today's post. Excuse me, I've got to have the cushion on my lap. Who knows why? It's just part of the deal. Today's post is really inspired by a friend of mine who is totally changing herself and her life from the inside out. And through a series of synchronicities, I'm going to call them that, through no fault of her own, she had a setback. That's probably all I need to say. But her response to the setback and to the challenge just inspires me because it hasn't been easy. She has had to over and over and over again decide that the fact that her body and her brain feel like they're on another planet is not an excuse for her to react and respond to that kind of experience the way she once would have. And I'm so impressed because it takes so much strength and fortitude and determination to do that. And so this post is inspired by that. I want to talk about challenge. I want to talk about adversity. I want to talk about how we react to it and how we respond to it, and how it becomes a tool when you understand about reactions and responses and how they become just part of your creation. So I want to talk about that, and hope I can remember everything I wrote. So, shit happens, right? We all know that. Truly, shit happens. The point is, are we going to let it define us? Now, it's fine to throw up your hands in disgust, throw a purple fit, get angry, be scared, be sad, whatever it is. There's no problem with having a reaction, because that's just being human. It is human to feel sad when we have a loss. It is human to feel angry when we're wronged. It's human to feel scared when you get the scary diagnosis or the scary possibility, or you lose your job and you've got a mortgage to pay, or whatever it is, right? That is just being human. But right at that point, after you've had that experience of whatever it is that's landed, is where futures can diverge. Because if you understand that it's normal to react, right? Like, the gazelle that's running away from the cheetah. That gazelle has to run like crazy. It has to mobilize all its internal resources to get away from the threat in order to survive. The primitive system in the gazelle's body that does that says, oh, there is a predator, I'm going to die if I don't run the hell away and very, very quickly, is the same system that turns on in our brains when you're on the motorway and somebody cuts you off. Yeah, it preserves your body, right? Oh my God, I've got to avoid this threat. Shit, I'm angry, I'm upset because somebody nearly killed me. Honestly, I remember the day I was driving up this thing. There was a red light. There was the traffic lights at the top of the hill. I had a green light. I was just driving up and somebody ran the red straight across in front of me. I would not have been able to do anything if I'd been a couple of seconds sooner, So, oh wow, well, clearly not my time. But it's appropriate and evolutionarily sensible to have a reaction, and it is the same system that helps us survive as what turns that gazelle into a thing that's suddenly full of adrenaline, can run much, much faster than it would if it wasn't amped up on stress hormones. No problem with that. The thing about stress hormones is that they turn down your immune system. And that's fine in the short term. But if you are a human as opposed to an animal, and this is the thing that sets humans apart from all the other animals, by the way. Not that we're sentient, because there are many other animals that are more and more being proved to be sentient. And even to make choice, to communicate. I've seen the video of the dog with the soundboard. It can say what it wants. I've seen, all of these things, opposable thumb, standing upright, tra-la-la. The thing that sets us apart from all of the other living creatures on this planet is the size of the frontal lobe in our brain. It's 40% of the volume of the brain. And that frontal lobe allows us to make a thought real just by thinking about it. Which means, if you're thinking about that person that you had a really scary encounter with 32 years ago, that you can think about that encounter and it comes real to you in your imagination, in your awareness, and your body goes back into the experience and the stress hormones pour again. And if you keep doing that, and you can see where this is going because people do, then your body is just in stress 24/7 and it doesn't stop. And so your immune system goes down, and after a while, you are going to get sick because that's just what happens. That's just, how the body works. If you've lost your job last week and you're suddenly thinking, oh shit, I've got this mortgage, I've got kids to pay, I've got petrol to buy so that I can drive and go places and do things. How am I going to do this? And if you think and think and think and think and think about that, you're just like the gazelle that's running away 24/7. Nora, good morning, lovely. And it's not very healthy for your body. And also, it's not very healthy for your brain, because you are thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking and feeling and feeling and feeling and feeling these really scary or angry or sad or whatever it is, thoughts and feelings, and you are very quickly conditioning your body into just running that automatically for you. I'm just scared all the time now. This was me, right? So this is the difference between reacting, because when the chemistry pours, when you freak out and get, somebody shocks you or surprises you, the actual reaction, the brain fires up and goes, oh my God, that was a surprise. You get a shot of adrenaline. Let's say it's a happy surprise or a funny surprise, and you're not scared that, it's just, oh my God, that's amazing. The chemistry that runs into your body from a single event like that you don't hang on to only lasts for 90 to 120 seconds. That's it, it's gone. After that, it's we that keep it going because we keep revisiting and rethinking stuff, right? So adversity can have this really, we think the circumstance is making me sick, whatever, but actually it's our continued reaction and continued keeping it going. And you're quite right, Linda, it takes great presence of mind to not enter into that really destructive loop. So that's what adversity does to people very easily if they don't realise this is the automatic program. That, you lose your job, you're evicted from your house, the relationship breaks up, and you just keep thinking about it, and people ask you what's wrong, and you tell them, and you tell the story again, and you feel it all again, That's what adversity can do, because it becomes who we are and we define ourselves by it. No, I can't do that now because I lost my job, or I can't do that now because I got this diagnosis, whatever. None of which is to say it's easy to do something else. But what I'm talking about, what inspired me, is my friend who is doing something else right in the middle of brain chemistry that's really screwed up because a doctor screwed up. And she's writing it. She remembers because she made massive progress before and then everything went haywire because the doctor screwed up. And now she is undoing haywire. But what impresses me is that she is still feeling, and her brain still feels like crazy, but she is remembering the thoughts and the feelings that she programmed in before that happened, and she's coming back to them really quickly. And I'm impressed, because it still takes enormous will to do that, and it does take will and determination. To go against the evolutionary programming that says, I don't feel good, there's something in my environment that's bad, and that is a reason for me to keep on doing and feeling and being this. If instead you look at adversity as an opportunity to choose something else, which is what she's doing so well. Jen, g'day honey. And by the way, it's not easy. We're just in communication and chat. It is not easy. She has really difficult days where she feels like crap and says, oh, I didn't get this done, I didn't get that done, but I did do that and I did do that. I forgive myself for not making progress. And I just go back to her and say, honey, you did this, you did this, you did this. Remember how hard that was a week ago? Oh, yeah. Because it's really hard to remember and celebrate your progress when you're right in the middle of all the shit, right? So, that is what I do well. This is like, hang on a minute, you did this, you did that. And we have to do this for ourselves as much as we can. Murray, it's lovely to see you. How do you unprogram? Oh, that is a great question. Let me just stick with this thing first or I'll lose my thread. And this is part of it though. So, remembering, hang on a minute, I used to feel good. I remember what that's like. Now it's very, very, very easy for me to say, well, my medication's off, my relationship broke up, I ran out of money, whatever it is, that is a reason for me to feel like shit or behave like shit. Even when I'm, maybe I'm gonna feel like crap, but do I want to live and embody and behave how I feel? Can I independently and willfully at least decide, and this can be very hard in the thick of stuff, okay? There's quite a lot of work that goes in before the shit hits the fan, deciding who you want to be. And that's the thing, you see. My friend had the experience of utterly rebuilding herself. And then, things went wonky. But she remembers who she was becoming. And so she has those memories and those choices that she'd already made about how I want to show up when shit happens. Because, shit happened. And she was overcoming it. And then, everything went bananas. And she's still overcoming it. And it's happening faster because she's decided who she wants to be already. So I guess part of the unprogramming Mari is actually using adversity as a reason and opportunity to say, okay, who and how am I being in this situation? And do I like it? And it's quite a thoughtful process. How, do I like it? And if I don't like it, well, who and how do I want to be? Now, that doesn't mean as soon as you decide, I want to feel differently, I want to behave differently, it doesn't mean that you're immediately going to know how to do that, but at least you have some kind of target. At least you have a thing, when you catch yourself doing that addictive behaviour or that habitual thought or that habitual way of being bitchy or horrible or whatever, it's like, oh my God, I'm doing that again. First, I noticed it. Fantastic! I noticed it because for the last 23 and a half years, I didn't notice it. You have to celebrate the fact that you noticed it. Awareness is the very first thing you've got to do. We don't realise that until you start to notice how, you've been, you can't change anything. Awareness is the first thing. It's actually just pick one thing about yourself that you would like to be different and make a deep decision that you're going to notice when you're doing that. Notice. And when you've made that deep decision that you're going to notice when you're doing that, also have a little bit of a think about, okay, when I notice myself doing that, how do I want to be instead? Oh, I'm so pleased things are solved for you, Nora. I'm so pleased. And yeah, so you reacted. You absolutely reacted, which is normal, which is fine. But you acted, you did the thing, you got control. You didn't, maybe, not about getting control of yourself, but you took charge instead of just going, oh, this is awful. You think, okay, yes, this is awful. Okay, what do I need to do? Very practical example. So, yeah, Murray, I mean, it is this simple. I'm not saying it's easy. We have to pay attention and just pick one. And why does pick one work? Because if you know anything about the brain, and I'm learning more and more because I'm so interested now, every memory, like I have neural nets for wiggling my fingers around. I have neural nets for looking out the window. There's a neural net in my brain that allows me to recognise the big crystal that's sitting on the floor, and then when I see other things that are the same, I can recognise, oh, they're purple, they're sparkly, they're amethyst. We have a neural net for everything. So if you just pick one set of neural nets about, that person, when I react to them, and I do react, I don't even respond, I'm completely unconscious, I'm a complete bitch to that person, and I don't like it, and I want to change it. Just changing that, this reactive, nasty, bitchy person that you find yourself being, right? If you start to notice that and then inhibit that using your fantastic frontal lobe that allows you to make choices and exercise your free will and create new options, all this is frontal lobe stuff, then when you're inhibiting being a bitch to that particular person, you're also inhibiting being a bitch to yourself. And that means you're also inhibiting, without noticing, you're inhibiting some level of self-dislike or everything's hooked together. So when you turn down the volume on one set of negative emotions, you are going to start lowering the volume on the others. That's just how it works. So you don't have to go for the whole ball of wax. You just take one little piece and, stop and look at it and decide, what am I actually thinking about that person that I absolutely hate? Is it that they did something to me and I am hanging on to a grudge? And by the way, forgiveness is not for them. Forgiveness is for you. And forgiveness is not about saying it was okay, because some of the shit that people do is not okay. But letting that thing go, stops you from being stuck in the past? Is anybody or anything worth staying stuck in your past? Really? You want to stay emotionally, energetically tied to that person that hurt you 15 years ago? Wouldn't you rather let it go and come into the present and stop hurting yourself? Because when you hold that resentment against them, you think of them, you have the resentful thought, resentful chemistry pours into your body. Every time you do that, you give your body a resentful signal, and that tells your genes what to do. Not very good instructions. What messages are you giving to your cells every day? You know? So, one thing, one thought, one behaviour, notice it, pay attention, unpick it a little bit. Don't analyse it to death, and certainly don't give a damn wet slap about why or where it came from. Just, when I react to that person, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? What am I doing? And what would I prefer to think and feel and do instead? It's really simple stuff. It's not easy. But if you start paying attention, that's the first step. And if you start making some choices, and don't expect to get it right the first time either. It's going to evolve. You're going to work out who you want to be more as you go along. So, this is how we grow, and this is what adversity allows us to do. And it's challenging, and it goes against thousands and thousands of years of evolutionary programming, which says there's something shitty in my environment, I'm allowed to feel like crap, and I'm allowed to behave like an amped up animal. I'm allowed to fight, flee, or hide, or, whatever, but that just, I don't need to manage myself. So, yeah, it is really quite simple, Murray. You're right. It's challenging because we just want to be like the gazelle and use our environment as a reason to behave and feel and be a certain way. So, well, I can't change that. Actually, we can. And you're right. We can't move forward if we're stuck in the past. So, thank you for sharing my rave with me. I'm looking forward to responding to your comments later in my day. I got to go put my other hat on now. Quite literally. Big love. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.